Hi everybody, welcome to Demo, the show where companies come in and they show us their latest products and platforms. Today I'm joined by Chris Brown. He is a field CTO at Immuta. Welcome to the show, Chris.
Great, thanks for having me.
So tell us a little bit about Immuta and then what you're going to show us today on the show.
So Immuta is a data provisioning access application. What is interesting about Immuta is that Immuta actually started in the public sector, actually out of the intelligence community, where our founders were dealing with problems of trying to securely share data between different organizations within the organizations very quickly. And so they started Immuta, and lo and behold, what we found is that highly regulated industries such as finance, healthcare, pharma, and everyone else has the exact same need. And so over the past 10 years, we've really exploded out within commercial and still have a pretty strong public sector footprint.
All right, and then who within the enterprise would this benefit the most? Is it really everybody that needs access to data, or just people in a data analytics department or things like that?
Yeah, so actually it's anyone who needs access to data, and we're seeing more and more people want access to data. We're seeing more people be able to utilize data in unique ways. We're seeing things like text to SQL, to where no longer do I have to, as a data consumer, actually know SQL to create a report. I can just type in what I want and it comes back to me. But really the main focus has been around the data governors, the data stewards, even the product owners, in which that they are always getting constant requests for new data, for consumers to get access to data. And they're becoming monkeys of just clicking the button yes because they're being overwhelmed, which is growing even more exponentially because of agentic AI. We're seeing non-human resources need access to that data, and it needs to be governed well.
Is the problem that in the old days, you would ask for access to data and then you would get all of the data, and now these people might only need certain parts of the data, so you can actually hide some and show some?
Yep, it's actually a little bit of both, right? The main problem is that explosion of requests that are coming out there. We are seeing that people are trying to build in these systems for requests to where they're using tools that are really more built for application access rather than data access. And those are two different things. And really what's happening is because of the number of human consumers and non-human consumers consuming that data, those requests, the data governors just cannot manually go through and approve all these. They need a tool like Immuta to where it can be automated off, because within our marketplace, which we'll see today, is because we see a data governor continually clicking the same kind of pattern, we're able to say, hey, create this policy that you can now automate this off. And so now you no longer have to worry about that.
So if a company did not have Immuta, you would have a data governor just sitting at their computer, just going click, click,
and
click,
working through
click.
a really long-winded process to where we see a lot of people utilizing tools like ServiceNow, SailPoint, and things of that nature, to where you have to make the request there, you have to wait for it to be approved, and then a lot of times you have to wait for a technical resource to actually go and give you access on your actual data platform. And this whole process we've seen with our customers is taking about 2.5 months to get approval to data. And at the speed of which companies and our public sector customers need to work at, that is no longer acceptable.
All right, sounds great. Let's see a demo.
Outstanding. So what the scenario we're setting up here is that I am a researcher looking at diabetics and pre-diabetic people. In this use case, I've just used Databricks, created a dashboard within there. This could work in any dashboarding like Tableau, Power BI, and against any type of backend system like a Snowflake, a Redshift, or others. So you can see that I've created this dashboard. I have some information with some charts and some specific information about the actual patients. Now, as the lead researcher and who's created this, I want to now share this with one of my colleagues or my whole team to be able to have them take advantage of it. So going into that same dashboard within Databricks, you see this user has no access to the data, nothing's showing up. And when we look at this error, we see that he's missing access to the actual tables that back this actual dashboard. So now how does he get access to the actual data? This is where the Immuta Data Marketplace comes in. So within the marketplace, he's able to see all the data products that have been published out there. We can see what ones I've been approved for, maybe I've been denied, or I had access at one time and I've revoked it. Obviously, demo system, not a ton of data in there, but I could actually go in and I can search through this and find the data I may want. I chose SYN, just so you can see that it's not just looking at the titles, but even the descriptions that are there within these systems.
Okay.
So obviously I don't need HR data. I'm looking at the diabetes data.
Yep.
Within here, I'm able to see a description of the data, who the actual subject matter expert is, so who's the person I might be able to ask questions about, and more importantly, what are the data sets that are part of this data product, and these are the ones I actually need in this use case. Also important in this case is the data use agreement. So making sure that people are utilizing data according to what they can and cannot do, what are those restrictions there? And in this case, I just created a simple one because it's medical data, use it according to HIPAA standards. So now what this user is able to do is go in and actually request access for data. What is nice within this platform is that I can make the request for myself, which I'll do in this case, or on behalf of another user. I give a reason why I am actually needing access. So I can say doing medical research, right? I can see what access tables I'm requesting access to. Now this is, if I'm approved, I'm going to gain access. This might say I can't gain access to it because there might be an underlying policy that can't change, and so I'm not able to actually access this data. Mm-hmm. I could click on that data use agreement, bring up that same agreement that we saw before. In this case, I'm going to click that, and I'm going to submit my request. So now that my request has been submitted, we can see that that request is pending. And when we come back to the dashboard, we see we have that pending request. So now what we need is the data product owner. He will get notified that there's now a request to approve access to one of these data products. So the first thing I'll show you is how these data product owners actually publish out the data product. And it's pretty simple how they do it. So I simply go in and request to publish a data product. I'm able to choose a certain domain that these products are going to come out of. In this case, it's my medical domain. Hitting next, I can choose what data sources are part of this. Now, in this demo, you've seen that my data product is actually all living in Databricks, but these data products could actually live in multiple data sources. So, I could choose things from Snowflake, Databricks, and even including like S3 here, because people might have to access the data in different ways.
Okay.
And then what I'm able to do is give just a name here, give a description, medical data, who the subject matter expert is. In this case, I'll just say it's me as the data product owner. And then here's where we can say, hey, do you have to require approval for this? And then who can approve it? What kind of questions do you want to ask? We're going to be expanding this out so you can add additional questions here for why the user needs to access it. And then I'm able to either create a new data use agreement, or I can use an existing data use agreement to where I can see that there. And then I simply can publish that data product, and we will see that come up on the dashboard that we have here. So that's how you create those data products. Now going back to that user who just made the request, I'm able to come in, I'm able to view all the requests. I'm able to see the requests by that user for the diabetes data. There's another request that's still pending out there, but I'm also able to see the history. But in this case, what I'll do is I'll go into the one that we just requested. We can see who requested the data, why they're requesting it, the data sources that they're going to request access to, if on approval they actually gain access, and then a data use agreement that they're working underneath. So now I can approve this. I can give information back to the user, but I'm just going to say approved, and I can now confirm that approval. Going back to the actual user who made the request, our demo user, I will refresh my page here, and we'll see that our diabetes page will have changed from the pending to the approved. So he now has access. So now what I'm able to do is I'm able to go into Databricks, and I'm able to refresh this dashboard, which will take a second here to refresh up, and we will see that the user now has access to the data.
All right.
Now, what you notice is this is different than what that other user had. We're missing a number of states that were there, and we can also see that names are being redacted, a regular expression has been written on the social security number, and the address is missing. The reason for that is that this is where the data access governance capabilities of Immuta kind of that's backing up this marketplace is coming into play. So looking at the data access governance capabilities here, I'm able to go into the domain that we're interested in, which is the medical domain, where we're able to kind of give it a description. We can see what data sources live underneath these the domain. We can see who has permissions in this case to be able to create policies, audit activity, manage the data products that are there. But what's important here is that I mentioned because we're seeing all those approvals happen manually, we can actually start to automate those off for people. And those are our subscription policies. To where I'm able to go in here, I'm able to write a policy. And what's great about these subscription policies and the data policies is that the data stewards now have the power to not only declare a policy, but to enforce it and not depend on data engineers or DBAs, right? Because this is all done in a way, plain English, for a user to be able to actually, a data steward to be able to actually understand and have these enforced. And this will be all done with drop-downs. And then looking at our data policies, I have 2 data policies. That state filter that I mentioned, that the user can only see a certain pieces of information. And then the masking policy, right? So we can see we have a number of different masking policies. Anyone watching this, whether they're technical or non-technical, can read each of those policy statements and understand what's supposed to happen. And again, just like those subscription policies, it is easy as choosing how you want to mask the data, using tags or things with names. In this case, using tags, I can add additional tags, like maybe this is PII type of data, and then how we're going to mask it in lots of ways with hashing and regular expressions. And then what are the exceptions for the user? In this case, they have to have a lot of their training up to date, and specifically in this one is having that HIPAA. So this is how it's very easy, and we reduce the toil of these data governors, these data stewards, from having to manually always create these, because we are able to automate this off.
A lot of great features here. I'm sure you've got a ton of other features that are cool. So where can companies go for more information and maybe learn? Is there a free trial? Is there kind of a demo period that you would have?
Yeah. So you can go down to Immuta.com, and out there we actually have a click-through demo that you're able to walk through and see more of the capabilities and features that are there.
All right, sounds great. Chris Brown from Immuta, thanks again. Thanks for the
thanks
demo.
a lot. Appreciate it.
That's all the time we have for today's episode. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, add any thoughts you have below. Join us every week for new episodes of Demo. I'm Keith Shaw. Thanks for watching.